Hey everybody, welcome to episode 8. I always start these here with a wee bit of what episode am I actually on. But yeah, I think this is episode 8 of the Road to Dublin Marathon. Yeah, it's definitely episode 8 because there's only 8 weeks left to the actual day, which is scary. So we're talking 2 months, and I hold up 3 fingers, 2 months left to the actual race, which means there's 5 weeks left to get some real quality training in. This next 5 weeks is probably the business end of things. This is where we start to dig really deep within the marathon training block. The miles will ramp up, the intensity ramps up. We're at the point where our fitness is at the right level that we can do these types of things because, as I've said in the previous videos, we are building layer upon layer upon layer of fitness to allow us to be in this position, to be in the position now that we can actually increase that intensity, increase that frequency, increase the duration of the runs as well. So scary as it is, hopefully everybody who's joining me on this journey, on this road to Dublin Marathon, hopefully you're all feeling ready to go for the next 5 weeks. Um, I say it's time to dig deep. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. The weather's going to change. You're going to be tired. You're going to be grumpy. You're going to be fatigued. You're going to be sore. This is part and parcel. If running marathons were easy, sure we'd do them all the time, wouldn't we? So yeah, time to dig deep, guys. So how did last week go? So last week was week 8 of my current training block. So this is a 16-week block. Well, there's going to be, I think, 17 episodes of this here, because we did an introduction week and a sort of base building week. As you've heard in the previous episodes, I am coming back from an injury. Hence why I was sort of building so much more carefully this time, so much slower. But you know what? I'm at exactly where I want to be at this stage. Last week's training, I'll go through what the plan said first of all, and then we'll go through the reality of how it went for me. Okay. So the plan, session 1 was meant to be a 5 mile fartlek. Session 2, 8 miles easy. Session 3, 6 miles at marathon pace. Session 4, 4 miles easy. And then session 5, 20 miles easy as well. Okay. So what was the reality of that? How did that actually pan out? I was quite time pressurized this week again. But you know what? I made time for the runs, or I managed to get them in and made things work for me. And to do that there, it was actually 3 out of the 5 runs this week were done on the treadmill. And I might surprise you later to hear which ones those were. But first run was done on the treadmill. It was the fartlek, 5 mile fartlek. Do you know, there's this real good session that I do on the treadmill, and it's fartlek-esque in its nature, where it's variation of speed, and different sort of recoveries with that there. So I call it the reducing fartlek, but we start off with an easy 9 minutes with a 1 minute fast, and then it goes to 8 minutes, 1 minute fast, 7 minutes easy, 1 minute fast. So it keeps reducing down to the 2 minutes easy, 1 minute fast, and then once we get down to the 1 and 1, we repeat that. And this time I repeated it 5 times to give me a 62-minute session. You could do it 4 times just to give you a good hour session with that there. But 5 is a nice number for me. I prefer odd numbers because I'm quite odd myself. So that was 62 minutes done on the treadmill, say reducing fartlek. The easy pace was done, I think it was about 8:40, maybe 8:45, in and around that there. And the faster effort was done at sort of tempo effort around 7:30 to 7:45. With the treadmill, because it takes a wee bit of extra time for the the belt to catch up. It's not instant speed. You're programming it a bit faster, but it takes about 10-15 seconds to go into it, but it tends to slow down as well. So overall, that session, it worked out at 7 miles for me in the 62 minutes. And an average pace, I think it worked out at, say, about 8:35s or something, in and around that there. I'm not getting too hung up on the time. But it was a real fun session, a real sweat fest as well. And it starts off, 9 minutes easy, 1 minute fast. That's very, very doable. And you're sort of, think to yourself, this session's just easy, but once you get till about the halfway mark into it, and you're down to the 5 and the 1 and the 4 and the 1, all of a sudden it starts to get a lot harder. Those that reduction of the easy effort really does start to come at you. And then at the end of the session, you're doing 1 minute on, 1 minute off. You're doing that 4 or 5 times. It's real intense, but so much fun. So much fun. The next session I done was, I actually done this a wee bit out of order here. So I was heading out to work. I was sort of in between works this time. So finished one job, going to the other. I had about an hour free. So I did. It was meant to be 6 miles or 10k at marathon pace, and I picked a new route, a couple of roads that I've never ran before, in and around work, but I sort of knew roughly with the distance of them. And do you know what? This session went really well. I started out at marathon pace, so marathon pace for me, or goal marathon pace, is going to be 8-minute miles, and I started out at 8-minute miles, and then felt really good. So picked up the pace the next mile, and then the next, and the next, and the next. So it turned into a 10k progression run, with an average time of 7:42, which on my new watch, which I've owned for over a year, almost a year now, I'm gonna say. I bought it just after the Kilway last September, so yeah, almost a year, and it recorded my fastest 10k on the watch. So in effect, it's the fastest I've ran a 10k in 11 and a half months. So it also shows you how little speed work I've been doing, how I haven't really been doing any sort of faster 10ks or 5ks or anything like that there. But a real good confidence booster to know that the legs can still turn over at that pace, still pick it up. And, at the end of the session, I wasn't completely busted. I felt there was a lot more in the legs too. So 6 miles at marathon pace, 10k progression run, 7:42 average. Real good run, real good session. Really enjoyed that there. So 2 good sessions this week so far. And then the next session, session 3, was just an easy run. I think it said 4 miles easy. I had a little bit of extra time again. I had another hour free between works, and this was just do a wee 10k, nice and easy effort, using the heart rate monitor to keep me on track, and no issues, uneventful. And I think I said a couple of episodes ago, uneventful is good. No issues, no spikes in the heart rate. I think the average pace was 8:24s, which, considering the last 2 sessions had been done fairly hard, it is inevitable that the heart rate's going to be up a wee bit higher, or the effort's going to be a wee bit more to keep the heart rate down. I think that sentence made sense. I'll try and rephrase that there. My easy effort was a slower pace this time because I was tired from 2 hard sessions. That makes a lot more sense when you say it like that. So yeah, 8:24 for another 10k. Nice week. 3 good sessions, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, done, dusted, simple as that there. Friday was a rest day. I'm happy to get it. Really busy in work. I think I was working from 8 in the morning to probably about 10:30 at night on Friday. So that meant Saturday was the second of my treadmill runs. So 2 out of 3. So I was at home with the kids. My wife, Emma, she was out at a wedding. And, I had planned a 9-mile run, and, I don't normally mind leaving the kids for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, but not really going to leave them for much longer than that there. So I just thought, the treadmill's here. It's an easy run anyway. Just jump on it and get it done. And fired on a little movie, watched it, and do you know what? Uneventful. Kept the gradient at 2% on the treadmill just to challenge myself a little bit on this one here. Otherwise, it would have been too easy. Average pace was about 8. I think it was 8. What's it say on this here? 850s. I'm looking down at my wee sheet, just to keep myself right here. But yeah, it was 850s at average. I think I had sort of a plan to do it at about 9-minute mile pace, 81 minutes for the 9 miles. May come in just under that there. Again, uneventful. Happy with that there. No issues with it. On to Sunday. Still quite hot, quite
so
humid.
Sunday's long run,
but, you know, really
I
controlled. I think I've looked at my
knew
efforts
Sunday
on
was
that
going
there
to be a
again.
really
It was
busy day.
slightly
I had
progressive.
lots of things planned, lots
because
of
the heart
things
rate
to
just
do. Was very
and
steady,
and I was able to increase
3-hour
the pace
blocks,
just, by
effectively in the day
0.1
that I knew
mile
that I
per
could
hour
get
every
long
sort
run
of
done.
mile, just to sort of
One was
let
at
the heart rate rise a little bit,
5 in the
keeping it
morning,
under
and the second one was going to be late in the evening
at 7
which leads me on.
I looked at the weather forecast Saturday night, and I seen that the weather was going to be absolutely stinking on Sunday morning. But I thought, you know what, we're going to have to race in the weather no matter what it is. We can't control the weather, and it's character building, isn't it, going out into the rain. So I went to bed early. I went to bed about 9, maybe 9:30 on Saturday night. Again, Emma was at the wedding, so it meant I could get to bed early without feeling too guilty. And the alarm went off at 5 o'clock, got out of bed, and looked out the window, and the rain was just pouring out of the sky. The wind was, it was just ridiculously windy, it was ridiculously rainy, and I just thought, you know what, this is just not worth getting out into. It was dark. I had sort of assumed it was still going to be light at around 5:30 in the morning, but it was dark, it was wet, it was windy, it was horrible. So the decision was made, go back to bed, or just not run, and that's what I did. So I went back to bed, and I actually fell back asleep straight away too, and looking at my Garmin later on, it's probably the longest sleep I've had in years. It was just under 11 hours sleep I ended up with Saturday night into Sunday. But got up anyway, out of bed, 8 o'clock, took my son and his 3 friends off to Junior Park Run. They had an absolute ball as always. Got home from that there. Knew I didn't have time to get out for the full 20 miles, so I thought to myself, okay, I could probably do a split run. I could do a 10 and a 10, maybe do 10 now and 10 later. The weather had changed so much. It was actually really nice at this time, but I just ran out of time again. I procrastinated a little bit too much. I fired on a bit of Football Manager just while I was eating eating my breakfast. And yeah, I just ended up not having a 2-hour block, at this stage. So we went off then as a family to Prison Island, just for my daughter's 16th birthday, and got home from that there. Got dinner cooked, get everybody sorted, and it was coming up to 7 o'clock. And knowing that I had this vlog to do, knowing that I skipped last week's long run, there was no skipping this. I had to get this done. I had to get this 20-mile run done. There was no real safe routes that I could think of out and around without sort of going looped out of myself. It was going to get dark here at home as well, quite early in the evening, and I was going to have to be running to 10 o'clock at night. So the decision was made to jump on the treadmill for a 20-mile run. Now, I've done things like this before. I've done, very long runs on the ultra. I've done an ultra, like a last one standing type thing on the treadmill during one of the lockdowns. But I've never done a 20-mile continuous run on it before. And I knew this was going to be a challenge. This was going to be mentally challenging. This was going to be physically challenging. It was going to be clammy. It's going to be hot. So I got a wee fan set up. The treadmill, I don't know if you can see it out the corner of my eye, but the treadmill stuck in a wee office with no real windows or light coming into it. Put on the fan, fired up the laptop, put on some TV, a TV series, and one of the toughest things I find now about running the treadmill is just finding the boredom, the monotony of running the one spot. But managed to find a good series and off I went. Just set the treadmill at one pace, which was just under 9-minute miles. And built into it a random gradient, so it would go up and down randomly each mile. And it sort of had changed from 0% gradient, and it went right up to 8% at one point, which was a tough mile. I think it came at mile 14 or 15. So going up 8% gradient, 50, it's character building again, that one there. So it was interesting to see. Sort of felt a bit rolly, which I suppose the legs enjoyed, because the legs like the variation of the hills. But there were so many times in that run where I just wanted to step off the treadmill, hit stop, and give up. But as I say, knowing that I had this to do, knowing that I have people asking me about the 20-mile run, whether I had done it or not, it sort of kept me accountable. So I got it done. I got it done at just under the 3-hour mark. I think it worked out at 8:56 average. Managed to pick up the pace a little bit, sort of a couple of miles whenever it was, with the 0% gradient. I fired up the speed just a little bit at those, because the legs just, it felt very easy and the heart rate was still under control. So all in all, I'm going to say I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the mental challenge of it. I think I enjoyed beating myself, not beating myself up, but just beating myself, beating the want and desire to step off, and convincing myself to stay on that there. So yeah, 20 miles on a treadmill. I don't want to make a habit of that, so I'm going to have to plan a lot better next week to make sure that the run is done outside, because I definitely don't want to make a habit of that there, as much as I like a treadmill. So summary of this week. It was 48.6 miles. I didn't realize it was quite as close to the 50-mile mark. Otherwise, I may have squeezed a couple of extra miles in earlier in the week at some stage. Better planning again needed with that there. Average heart rate 74%, which was the same as last week on my down week. I'm really happy with that there. It shows how much my fitness has improved. That the average heart rate's dropped from 80% to 50%, and the paces are getting quicker as well. It shows that the fitness is definitely coming back. What does the next 4 to 5 weeks entail for me? Well, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 20-mile runs in it. So this is the most 20-mile runs, or the 20-milers, that I'll have ever done on a training block. This will be really interesting to see how this works out. I said last week that I plan to do at least 3 of those, but looking at this plan and sort of feeling good with the last one run there, I fully expect to be doing all 5 of those. I will have a half marathon tune-up race. I'm aiming for Belfast half marathon. Not next weekend, but the weekend after. So that's the weekend. I think it's the 18th of September. So that'll be the tune-up race to see where I'm at. Really see where I'm at, within a race environment. I don't expect a PB. I really don't expect a PB at it. I think my half marathon PB is 1:35 something. I think, based on my feelings, I should be in around 1:40, maybe 1:42, which I'll be really happy with, and that should springboard me on to the sub 3:30 marathon. So that's the goal. 3:30 marathon, thereabouts. I'm not going to get too hung up if I don't hit my time. But I know that this is a real good training block. This is one about regaining fitness, regaining marathon fitness, coming back from injury. There's so many elements to this training block that I've never had to encounter before as well. So guys, look, thanks again for watching. Thanks for following this series so far. Thanks for the very positive feedback that I'm getting, through private messages, as well as some of the comments under the videos too. I mentioned last week I'll do a wee video about marathon motivation tips. I'm hoping to get that done fairly soon. I actually want to get some other runners involved with it and get maybe a different voice. Maybe you just get sick of hearing my voice. But look, just thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for the support. And if you are training for a marathon, or you're training for Dublin Marathon, and you know, these videos are useful to you in any shape or form, you know, just let me know, and we can see where we can do with it, or see what we can go with it. But look, hopefully I'll see you out on the road soon, and if you have any questions or queries, just give me a shout. All the best now. Bye bye.